Welcome to the video. I'm Hebrew Hybrid. If you watched my content before and you like it, you might hit the subscribe button, ring the bell for notifications. You'll be told whenever I upload a new video. Now we're going to start talking about what this video is really about, and that is the DC Finest Collected Editions. I'm kind of happy for it, I'm a little excited, and I'm also a little annoyed by it as well. Let's start on the good about it. Around November of 2024, DC is going to release 5 books for their DC Finest collection having to do with Superman, Batman, the Barry Allen Flash, Catwoman, and Wonder Woman. The Superman book is going to revolve around the Golden Age Superman around the beginning. It's going to be called The Coming of Superman. The second book is going to be detailed around Batman, around where they're going to retell his origin right after Crisis on Infinite Earths. It's going to be Year 1 and Year 2. The third book is going to have to do with the Silver Age Flash, Barry Allen. It's going to be titled The Human Thunderbolt. The fourth book is going to be called Wonder Woman, Origins and Omens. And from what I hear, that certain storyline is going to be around the beginning of the Gail Simone run. They just reprinted the Gail Simone Wonder Woman Omnibus here recently. Now, I'm planning on doing an overview of it in the near future, but not in this video. But if you're a little weary on spending over $100 on an omnibus, you might hold off, because I don't know if everything that's in the omnibus is going to be in that DC Finest collected edition, but it's worth waiting for, because I believe the retail price is going to be around like $35, $40. I'm hearing something that could be an introductory price. The actual retail price might be a little bit more. The fifth book that's going to be coming out in November has to do with Catwoman. It's going to be called Lifelines. It's going to be stories that took place around the early 1990s that was illustrated by Jim Ballant. From what I'm hearing, these books will be averaging around 600 pages, maybe a little bit more. They're going to be roughly the size of an omnibus, but they're going to be soft cover. They're not going to be hardcover. DC has provided photographs of the front and back covers of these collected editions, and they look very nice. Now, I, on the other hand, already have a collected editions of the Golden Age Superman, so I'm more likely will be passing on the Superman. I've already got collected editions of the Silver Age Flash. Even though I'm a big Flash fan, I really don't want to double dip, because I already got those stories that they're going to be reprinting anew. The Wonder Woman collected edition is going to revolve around the Gail Simone book that was just released in omnibus format. So I probably won't be getting that either. It just depends on if there's anything different in there that's going to be different from the omnibus. But I'm probably going to be passing on the Wonder Woman as well. Now the Batman, on the other hand, Years 1 and 2, Batman Year 1 and Year 2 are going to be together in the same collected edition format. Now, one of the concerns that people have with this new format that DC just announced is that, are they going to be skipping issues? And from what I heard from the Near Mint Condition video about this whole subject, Omar and the Epic Marvel podcast and a few others in the same video, they voiced their same concerns. And the Epic Marvel podcast, the guy that runs it, pretty much said that between the storylines of Year 1 and Year 2, there were issues that fitted in between those. So unless they plan on just doing Year 1 and Year 2 in the same book, and then those issues that fit in between will be put in a different collected edition, that might work out, as long as they're included somewhere in these collected editions. The Catwoman DC Finest. I'm pretty interested in that. I did get a couple, well, probably more than a couple of issues when they were first coming out in the early 1990s, but I did not stick with the whole storyline throughout. So I really don't know what all was going on, but I'm a big fan of what Jim Ballant did with the Catwoman series. Pretty much gave her breast implants. Not really. Every artist draws certain characters their own certain way. And Jim Ballant pretty much made Catwoman maybe more well-endowed than what she really has been drawn in years past, and even in today's age. So I just had to throw that little joke in there. Now, like I said earlier, the projected price is around $34.99. I've heard something that could be an introductory price. I don't know what that's all about. Maybe the actual retail price might be a little bit more, seeing as how it is an omnibus size format. The Batman Nightfall series, book 1, was about an omnibus size format, And when it first came out, it was roughly around $30. So you didn't really have to spend a whole lot of money to read book 1 of the Nightfall Batman storyline. So let's hope that this introductory price that we're talking about, the $34.99 price, is going to be the same throughout of all these separate books. People have been clamoring for a long time for DC to do a system of reprinting their older material, kind of like how Marvel's been doing for the Epic collections within the last 10 years. DC has had a bad habit of starting a format, whether it's the archive editions, whether it's the Golden Age, the Silver Age, the Bronze Age. When they're doing these reprints, they tend to abandon these things. And it's very frustrating for the reader that wants to complete their whole run. I've been wanting a whole complete run of The Flash so I can read from the beginning of Showcase number 4 all the way to the final issue of The Flash in number 350 that was canceled in the early 1980s because Barry Allen died in the Crisis on Infinite Earths. I'm also very interested in reading Green Lantern, Hal Jordan's adventures from the very beginning with, I think it was Showcase number 10, was it? All the way up to before and after the Crisis on Infinite Earths. And DC just pretty much abandoned that whole idea. And DC pretty much abandoned that whole run, leaving a lot of fans confused, frustrated, so on and so forth. DC really needs to stick to this DC finest. They need to find a happy medium because within the last several years, they've been overproducing a lot of their books. They've been winding up at liquidation outlets such as Ollie's. You know, they can be priced anywhere from like $5 to $10 a book. Just depends if it's softcover or hardcover. Heck, I even made a video on how I picked up Wonder Woman: The Golden Age Volume 3 Omnibus for, what was it, $50, $35, somewhere around there. DC just needs to start off with not really a low print run, but probably very moderate. Don't overproduce it. And if there's enough of a demand, have it go back to press. Print a second print of whatever books that are in a lot higher demand. There's lots of Superman fans out there. New fans are coming on board all the time. The Superman DC Finest that's going to be coming out, it might sell very well. It is a Golden Age story. The art isn't like super spectacular like it is in today's standards, but it's still the first adventures of the Golden Age Superman. So it might sell. The Batman Year 1 and Year 2, people have been waiting decades for this to be in a collected edition format. That's going to sell out fast. I don't know how much of a print run they're going to do on that, but if DC is smart, they'll probably be more modest on their print run. Probably not really like bet the farm on it, but whatever print run they're planning on with the Superman and the Silver Age Flash, print a little bit more copies of the Batman Year 1 and Year 2. The Wonder Woman, it might sell moderately, you know. You might keep that print run moderate towards the low end. The same with the Catwoman. If there's enough of a demand, a year and a half later, put it back on the press, get a second print out there. People will buy it. I would really like to see DC go all out like Marvel does with their titles. I would like to see a DC Finest of Firestorm the Nuclear Man. I'd like to see a DC Finest of The Atom. I'd also like to see DC's Finest of all of Aquaman's adventures. Aquaman was a Golden Age hero, for those of you that didn't know. Aquaman dated all the way back to like the 1940s. It wasn't until the Silver Age when he got included with the Justice League of America that some people might think that he was a Silver Age character, when he actually goes further back than that. I bought this book full price at Barnes & Noble for like $50 around the time when it was still new. It does have the first appearance of Aquaman. It's got the first appearance of Aqualad, first appearance of Mera, I believe. I think it's got the issue where Aquaman and Mera get married, but it does not have the first appearance of Black Manta. That's something that I would like the DC Finest to do. Let's get the first appearance of Black Manta reprinted and put out there. Like I said earlier in this video, people are worried that they're going to be skipping around and not releasing everything as far as the continuity goes, as these titles, these characters, where they stand, so on and so forth. So hopefully They don't do that. So hopefully everything maps out accordingly, and that everything from beginning to end will eventually be told, like how Marvel does with their Epic Collections. Marvel's Epic Collections been coming out for probably just over 10 years. They have not been coming out in the numerical order as the volumes say on the back. They've been jumping around. Very few times have they actually started with a volume 1, but the Epic Collection has been jumping around, and they go to reprint all the time. Some of them have been on their third print. Some have been reprinted the second time. There's still some books that have not even received their first printing. But Marvel started with the Epic Collections, and they are sticking with it, and they're selling. They're selling very well. Even the reprints are selling very well. There's some people out there that's double dipping on the different print runs. They got the first print of the specific volume, and they're also picking up the second print, because they like to compare the differences in the print styles. Marvel's been jumping around from different printers. They're not sticking with just one print shop. Some of these collectors likes to get the first, second, third, maybe even, I think there's some that even gotten a fourth print run. They like to compare the color contrast and how everything goes. Different paper stock, so on and so forth. And I'm just really begging for DC to really stick with it this time. You know, I understand you want to make money. If something's not selling, they're tempted to just cut and run. When the real answer is, there's people out there that want this content. They're willing to pay for it. As long as it's not too expensive, they're going to get it. So whatever print run you guys decide on, as long as the price is reasonable, people will buy it. Just don't go buck wild to where within a year or two, you're going to be seeing it at Ollie's for $5 a book. Because that's kind of ridiculous, and even though the consumer likes it to be that way, it's bad business. Now, let's go right behind me for a very rare look at my reading library here as far as comic book and Epic Collections go. Now, as I'm stepping behind my table, push my table aside to get a better look at my reading library here as far as comic book collected editions. Part of my point is, with DC, they've been abandoning certain projects that they've started. You know, we have Superman, the Golden Age. We have some of the archive editions here that they stopped doing. We have Flash, the Silver Age, Volume 1, goes all the way up to Volume 4. Good thing that Volume 4 and the Omnibus Volume 3 of the Silver Age Flash meets up together. There's no issues that takes place in between there. It's a very smooth reading order. I was wanting to read from the first appearance of the Barry Age Flash to Showcase number 4 all the way up to the very last issue with Barry Allen and Flash number 350. I wanted to read it all the way through. I was hoping that at least the omnibuses, which, you know, the omnibuses still might come out after Volume 3, it might even be the Bronze Age if they ever decide to do it, if they don't abandon it. We also have the archive editions. I do have number 3 somewhere as far as the Flash goes. But I do have some gaps here to fill with the Green Lantern. I have some gaps to fill with the Justice League of America. I was only, I was probably, wanting to finish up Swamp Thing. I was only cared about the Volume 1 of the Supergirl. I just wanted to see the first appearance of Supergirl. I was interested in getting more of Wonder Woman. But, Flash was the highest priority. Second priority was Green Lantern. I even bought some of these celebrating collected editions, the hardcovers. I got the Aquaman, the Green Arrow. I got the John Stewart Green Lantern. Got a Wonder Woman. Right there, I have the Phantom Stranger Omnibus. Very, very soon, I will be doing an unwrapping and an overview of the Phantom Stranger Omnibus. Very soon. Stay tuned for that. But yeah, just about projects that DC has started, it'll go for a few years, and they just abandon it, which I'm hoping that that's not going to be the case for these DC Finest. As you can see, I started collecting some of the Teen Titans Silver Age. I have the whole run of Marv Wolfman, George Perez, run with the new Teen Titans. You know, I have Green Lantern, left off with Volume 4. Where's Volume 5 at? Come on, DC. Are you going to do better with DC Finest? I was wanting to read Justice League of America, all the way from the very beginning, all the way up to the Crisis on Infinite Earths. You know, are they going to come out with the Bronze Age Volume 4? Here we have Marvel Epic Collections. They've been sticking to it for 10 years. There's some lines that's already complete. They're still working on Spider-Man. I don't think they've actually completed Spider-Man yet. The Amazing Spider-Man, should I say. But I first discovered these Marvel Epic Collections when I was at a Barnes & Noble. I saw they had the Amazing Spider-Man Epic Collection Volume 3. Spider-Man No More. Yep. And for those of you that didn't know, that the Spider-Man 2 with Tobey Maguire, it was that close to being called Spider-Man No More. Now, my collection is very heavy on the DC. You know, I am kind of biased towards DC. I like DC more than Marvel. But I'm not saying Marvel sucks, because Marvel does not suck. But I have been building my Marvel reading library. I'm even making some extra room for certain things. I just got done doing an overview of the Iron Man Omnibus Volume 1. I'm getting to make space for Volume 2s and 3. Volumes 2 and 3. Whenever they come out in August. I'm interested in getting, some more Hulk Epic Collections, but, I'm not really interested in getting the whole line of the Hulk. I'm interested in getting some more Avengers Epic Collections. I'm interested in getting some more Captain America Epic Collections. I'm interested in getting some more of the X titles Epic Collections. But yeah, it seems like that Marvel's been sticking to their Epic Collection format. And whether or not DC sticks with the DC Finest is going to be another story. I'm also planning on doing an overview of this Jack Kirby's Fourth World Omnibus in the very near future as well, since Volume 2 will be coming out in March. This is Volume 1. So be on the lookout for an overview of this in the very near future. Now we're going to see tons of Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman content from this DC Finest line. That's pretty much a given, because those are the 3 biggest characters they got. That's the bread and butter. Those are the most popular characters as well. But there's lots of other content that other readers, such as myself, would like to see. We would like to see some Justice League of America, all through its entirety. I'd like to see some Firestorm, some Ronnie Raymond Firestorm in its entirety. I'd like to see some Teen Titans, Silver Age, and Bronze Age. Whatever the age of the 80s was. Like to see some Brave and the Bold. Like to see some DC Comics Presents. Would also like to see some of the world's finest comics around the Golden Age. The New York Fair comics. Not just themed with Superman, not themed with Batman. Reprint the whole thing. I want everything in the order everything came out in its entirety. Not secluded to just Superman, not secluded to just Batman. Release the world's finest in its entirety. Please. I'd like to see some more New Gods content. Jack Kirby created a very interesting universe. I'd like to see some Apocalypse. I'd like to see some New Genesis. Darkseid, Highfather, Calabac, Orion. Let's see some of that in softcover format. Everything's been pretty much done with a hardcover omnibus. It's already done. It's already on digital. Might as well get them reproduced in softcover format. want to see some Aquaman. I want to see some Hawkman. I want to see Atom. I want to see some Green Arrow. Let's see some Swamp Thing. Let's even divide the Who's Who titles from the 1980s into different volumes instead of like a omnibus format. You know, I picked this up for very cheap. I do plan on doing an overview of this sometime in the near future, but it'd be very nice to separate this book into several different volumes to make it more affordable for people that don't want to drop $100, $150 on a book this size. They're probably more willing to pay $40, $45 for if you split this up into 2 or 3 volumes. Let's see some Legion of Superheroes. Let's see some Secret Society of Supervillains. Let's see some Super Friends content. They made comic books based off the Super Friends cartoons. And like I said earlier in the video, I want to see a complete runs of the Silver Age Barry Allen Flash from Showcase number 4 all the way to his last issue with number 350. I also want to see the same thing with the Hal Jordan run of the Green Lantern all the way from his beginning in Showcase all the way towards the end of the Crisis on Infinite Earths, and even after that too. He gave up his ring for a short period of time. John Stewart became his permanent successor, and eventually Hal Jordan was able to get his ring back after the Crisis. Let's see some Green Lantern Corps adventures too. A lot of these Green Lantern issues, they had short, like maybe 5 or 6 page stories at the end of the issue where some of the alien Green Lanterns were having adventures on their specific homeworlds or wherever else they were going. Let's get those reprinted as well. The Green Lantern Corps also have their own title. Let's get some of that stuff reprinted. There is so much that DC can produce, and they just been failing the last couple decades. Let's hope that they stick this one out and they're a lot smarter about it as far as their print runs go. I'm all for them making money. They just need to be smart about it. If something they release sells out really fast, put it back on a press, maybe a year and a half, 2 years down the road. The reprints will sell as well because people want to read this content. If you made it all the way to the end of the video, I really appreciate you. If you enjoyed this video, shoot me a like. Comment, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. It really helps out with the algorithm if you like and subscribe. Let me know what you like most about this video. Let me know what you like to see most from these DC Finest line that's going to be starting to come out in November. I keep repeating myself on that, but part of me is really excited about this. Part of me is just a tad annoyed, and I just pretty much spilled my guts as far as some of the things I've been most unhappy about as far as what DC has been doing. Support your local comic book, toy shop, and your local brick and mortar store. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.